I thought there was a lot of growth in the group over the season, and we definitely went in the right direction. We showed some real resilience and overcame a whole bunch of hurdles and adversity. So I think, on the whole, going in the right direction and looking forward to the new season.
Before we even get to the first game of the season, let's talk about pre-season, the challenges, how to keep the guys motivated for that long, the pre-season being 7 months. How did you find managing that?
It's difficult to summarise all of that for you at this point. There was so much from a rugby point of view that we had to change and be innovative with. There was so much from an emotional point of view, the anxiety of is the season going ahead or players' jobs are going to be okay, not being able to get on and off the island, players being away from families for an extended period. So lots of things that we hadn't ever faced before. I think when you look at pre-season, I think traditionally the supporters always enjoy having teams come over to Jersey and watch us play and prepare for the season, whereas this year was completely different. And then you look at our friendlies, probably 2 real tough tests: go away to Coventry, go away to Pirates. And you're still trying to learn about your squad, because as much as they've come together as a team, everything around that preparation had probably been very, very different with all the restrictions in place.
The season kicked off at the beginning of March and we had a bye week. Preparation going into the Saracens game, the first of the season. Just talk about that and go back to those times and just try and sum up what that was like.
I think we probably put ourselves under a little bit of pressure. Looking back, I think we played 2 pre-season friendlies, and you're not supposed to really consider pre-season friendlies because you're making changes, you haven't found continuity, you haven't found your partnerships, but we still saw those games as losses, which is one thing we need to learn from. That was about preparing the team for an up-and-coming season. Having a week off, the bye week before the season started, that really caught up with us. It almost felt like we were behind the 8 ball, and then Saracens was just sort of that emotional roller coaster. It was the first game playing a team that was in the Premiership a year ago, European Cup champions and Premiership champions, all of those things in one. And the fact that the Beast had been poked a week before when they'd lost their opening game, and we had to go away to Saracens and take them on. Make no mistake, fantastic experience. I'm so sure the players took a lot from it. And at times we may not have won the war, but there were a fair few battles along the way that we definitely took on that day. And take the result out of it. The players set their stall out of where they could be and how they could continue to improve.
You always say every experience is a learning experience for them. That was the first competitive league run out. First 20 minutes looked really good. What did you learn from the guys that match?
They were prepared to mix it with the best, and when the pressure came on and the score and the result wasn't going our way, they didn't give up. They kept on going, and they showed a lot of character.
You're always looking to kick on from a game. How did you feel the squad reacted moving on to the second and third games of the season?
We probably fell into a tough place. It felt like not you'd started the season and lost to Saracens. It felt like we'd lost 3 games on the bounce, because ultimately we're playing 3 teams in our league. And with no disrespect to Richmond, we probably felt it would just happen for us on the day, and it didn't. We were in the game, we scored a good try, and then suddenly they got up and we were trying to find a way back in, and they thoroughly deserved their victory on the day. So tough one for us all to take, but now we're staring down, 2 games lost the opening season. People talking about having lost 4 games, and we're like, separate pre-season, separate season. So we went away to Bedford. Goldington Road's a tough place to go. Traditionally a game we enjoy going to play, but it came with a lot of pressure, and I think the squad and the coaches and the support staff worked really hard those couple of weeks to get us on track, and it was a tough fought win at Bedford, and when we came away from it, you could feel that relief. Oh geez, we actually missed out. That could have been a bonus point win, but a tough game.
Next up was Doncaster, always a tough opponent. Had their position in the league surprised you a little bit?
Doncaster was always going to be a tough game. I think they were on a run of games where everything was just going their way, and they'd made that work and happen for themselves. For us, I think the way I sort of described that game was a top four championship game, and away from home we came away with a loss. So not something we were too concerned about. We know we'd performed well in parts of the game. We know we had fronted up. I thought we probably deserved to come away with a bonus point, but missed opportunities on the day. And you have those days in championship games. We had a try disallowed that we thought Jack McFarlane had scored from the maul. There'd been a couple things, and that just puts a different complexion on the game. But overall, we came up. We played a top end game. But missed out to a team that finished third in the league table, and a hard-fought game.
That game and then Ealing was the toughest period for rugby for the squad. And I remember you saying at the time they were training really well.
The guys' attitude was exceptional, and that's why I say their character and resilience came through. If you ask them about how resilient they've been through a season, but we're always going in the right direction. We came on to Ealing. I thought we were competing. We were then playing for a fourth try, a bonus point, whether that be win or not win the game. We had that unfortunate incident with Cookie and a red card and being down to 14, and Ealing opened up, and they're a quality team, and that's why they're in a playoff against Saracens to go to the Premiership. But again, I'd say it was probably that sort of pressure or that expectation that was building in ourselves, bearing in mind at that stage we had played 7 games away from home. I know 2 were pre-season games, but all 5 had been away from home. In that we'd played Ealing, Doncaster, Saracens, all top 3 teams. We'd get a hard-fought win against Bedford, and then probably one that we felt got away from us. So when you take a step back and you look at it and you just try and put that into context, the team we felt as a support team was still going in the right direction.
Would you say that for once you had some good luck and with the timing, that after that we had our first home game here with fans against Nottingham? And I remember interviewing you pre-match that day and how excited everybody was to put on a display and to go out and take training out onto the pitch for 80 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. It all came together in one go. I mean, the weather, the crowd, the enthusiasm, the excitement, the adrenaline in that change room. The guys wanted to go out there and perform, prove that whatever the form table looked like or whatever the results looks like, they were a quality team that had been training and were going in the right direction. And I think that came through in that game. I thought they were outstanding here at home in front of those supporters.
You then move on to Amt Hill. What was it that pleased you so much about that win? Again, for a team that was 4th or 5th at the time.
Yeah, Amt Hill's a tough place to go and win, and we sort of had to go away from home and get a result where we were comfortable and could control the game. And especially considering, I don't want to call it baggage, but considering all the pressure we've been under with all the away games before. With 5 away games, only won one of those 5. It was like, can we do it away from home? So going away to Amt Hill and getting a bonus point victory in the way we did in those last few minutes of the game, just really lifted this group and again just kept on steering them in the right direction.
I remember at the time you saying how happy you were that what happened at the end of the Bedford game, they'd grown and learned from that, and that paid off at the end of the Amt Hill game. It
was taking that another step forward. It was just seeing that the team just develop again. Would we have been happy winning the game? Yes, absolutely. It was a win away from home, but to go, especially when a couple of things had not gone our way in that day, We had another try disallowed, which we know now is a try after watching the footage back. But it's almost like those things were going against us. But we came back and we got that bonus point.
We had Coventry back here for the second game. Just didn't quite happen, didn't fire. At the time, obviously, emotions must have been quite high, but looking back on it now, what's your assessment of that game?
Oh, there were a couple of things. First thing, give Coventry credit. Geez, did they put in a performance? They had clearly a game that they targeted, knowing that they had Saracens coming up after that, and they wanted to come away with some points. So give them credit. They were ready for the game. And whether it's learning for ourselves, but we probably just assumed it was going to happen for us again. But it happened against Nottingham. We'd gone and made it happen against Amtil, and it was just supposed to happen. Well, that doesn't happen. We learned that. Rugby is an honest game, and you've got to be honest. And we learned again that we don't be wrong. I thought we'd prepared well again, and all those things were in point, but. You can't take any game lightly in the championship, because just one or two moments and the game gets taken away from you.
Everything was back on track after the Harvey result. What pleased you about that performance?
Oh, firstly, it was the reaction from a week before. The reaction that, there's still 2 games to go. Some teams can just write off the season, but this team wanted to prove they will continue to get better, and they're continually evolving and improving. And so after being a bit disappointed and probably frustrated after Coventry, they went and again put in another dominant display at Harvey, again away from home. It was probably that game we were looking to make sure we could impose ourselves and show we're better than what we were the week before.
So coming to Pirates, for what was a very exciting match. I'm not so sure maybe for you, the last 3 minutes, but if you just talk us through the preparation for that match and how much Harvey helped.
Difficult one for me, because I'm probably a little bit slanted in my views, so it was probably a little bit more emotional for me than it would have been for all the players. But the thing that stands out for me was the group as a whole. It's last game of the season. Does it really matter? Well, I think what you saw out there on that Saturday afternoon showed that it had mattered to the group. It mattered to the players they were saying their goodbyes to. It mattered for the coaches. It mattered for everyone, and it mattered that we were going to perform again in front of our supporters. To try and put it into context for you, when I said about a team that kept on going in the right direction, the season started and Pirates beat Saracens, and we got to the last game of the season and we beat Pirates. So we were a team that kept on going in the right direction, and I'm proud of the way. They could have just given up or let it be, but they made sure they were gonna see out the year in the right way, and that shows a lot about what it meant to the group, and it tells you a lot about the group that was together.
A lot of that group are going to be here next year.
Yeah.
So how much? So from a building perspective,
there's still a lot to do, because had it not been for those last 4 minutes against Pirates, I think you would have thought it was a pretty dominant performance. Albeit a couple of things went their way in those last few minutes with a couple of knock-ons and things. But yeah, it's this is a bizarre season. It's been different from a recruitment point of view, because there's only a certain amount of rugby being played, but I think we've got a great squad that's coming together for next season. We've got more continuity than we've ever had. We've got a coaching team in Rob and Ed that have worked together, albeit for 10 games, but they've worked together. Their understanding is getting better. The player support team is right behind the guys to make sure they improve and get better. So I think next season is an exciting year for us.
You just mentioned Rob and Ed. You've sat and watched that relationship grow and given a lot of responsibility down to those guys. How pleasing has it been for you to see that flourish? Oh,
very much so. I've said this before. I think 2 guys that are going to be standout coaches in the years to come, and the fact that they've started out here at Jersey is brilliant for us. There's lots more to come from those 2 guys. Let's leave it at that. I think they're going to challenge the players. They're going to challenge themselves. They're going to challenge each other. and it's going to be great to see that come through in our performances in the coming seasons.